Back everybody. Well, Leanne Manas, my colleague, is still in Kenya. She's there with the UNHCR, which has launched an Africa-wide social movement that calls on individuals and business in Africa to take action to solve the continent's worsening refugee crisis. And Leanne is joining us via Skype at the world's third largest refugee camp, Kakuma, in the northern Kenya. A very good morning to you, Leanne. Thank you so much for joining us now. We've seen you sitting down with some of the refugees who made it known that they want to be treated as ordinary people who live ordinary lives, and we've seen them setting up businesses or to make their own living. And we've also seen you sitting down with an elderly man who has just completed his final year of secondary school. What's happening today?
It was something that we'd experienced a lot of things, but yesterday I think was one of those days where again lots and lots of things were discovered by me about this continent and about the people that are living on it. Now, I think one of the first places that any refugee goes to is the reception area. Now, this reception area is somewhere where you have run from your country for whatever area or for whatever reason, whether it be for war, for race relations, for anything. That, of course, is where you do go. And then you pretty much so go there for things and you get registered into this camp. Now, as it stands right now, there are around about 3,500 people so far that have come into the refugee camp. Now, this is something that is extraordinary. Now, I think the biggest amount of people that ever came into the camp was 25,000 people. Now, 25,000 people in 2014 had come into the refugee camp. Now, they never, ever, ever leave. And that's the reality. When they're there, they stay there. Now, we had met a woman who was an extraordinary woman. She had left South Sudan with 20 children. She wouldn't say which ones were hers and which ones weren't. She just said they were all her children. 20 children running from South Sudan and was seeking a better life for all of them. I think one of the most moving moments, however, was when I went into the section that was for children. And the children are the ones that run away and flee for their own lives. And the reception area, when I got there, there was a young girl with 5 of her siblings. She was 20 years old, and she had come with her 5 brothers and sisters, ranging from the ages of 2 years old up until about 10. And she was looking after them, trying to find them a better life. So, you know, these are the real life stories of people that we have no idea of. You know, I was saying that you can drive on these roads and you don't even know that there's a refugee camp just a couple of meters into the bushes. And that's where they stay. That's where they set up a life. And I'm right in the heart of the refugee camp right now. Unfortunately, the wind is so bad outside, and I know that the reception is not great either to get a photograph. So I've moved into the vehicle just to sort of tone down the wind. But you basically see nothing. There is nothing to see. There is just it is just sand everywhere. It is dark. It is windy. It is hot. There are flies everywhere. It is a condition that nobody wants to live in, and yet it is a better condition than what they come from. And that's just something extraordinary. Just one thing that I have to leave you with is a visit to a school as I start wrapping up from Kakuma. We visited a school inside the camp. Now, again, this is a school for the refugees, and it was a primary school. Now, as I walked into the classroom, there were 2 classrooms I visited. The first classroom was a classroom that I walked in. It was just full of boys. And I thought that it was an all-boys school, but it wasn't. It was a unisex school, but unfortunately, all the girls had dropped out for one or other reason. And there was one man sitting there. He must have been 60 years old, and he was writing a primary school exam. He had come from South Sudan, and he wanted to finish his primary school. And that was very, very inspiring. However, when I walked into the other classroom, it was the younger girls. They were in probably our equivalent of grade 3, and it was full of young girls, but then they just fall out of the education system, and that's a big problem. Anyway, I will fill you in on many, many more of the adventures as I say goodbye to you and try and once again, as I did yesterday, flip this camera and try and show you the environment that I'm in right now, speaking to you from this vehicle. And I'm going to say goodbye to you from this dusty refugee camp in the north of Kenya, very, very far out. We traveled for about a half an hour to get to where we are right now, to absolutely nothing. But I'll tell you where we are, hopefully tomorrow morning. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. And I believe that Palesa is out at the Rand Show in Johannesburg, something very different to where I am. and yet I'm sure she's having a little bit more fun. Palesa, good morning to you.